Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Royal Book Review. Today I will be reviewing the book that the Elevate Book Club read for late summer 2024. And I'll be sharing with you my review of this book. And the name of the book is Summer on the Bluffs by Sunny Hostin. And this book was a New York Times bestseller. It was a really good read for us for the summer. We enjoyed discussing the characters and discussing the plot. I would rate this book a 3-star book. It was an enjoyable read, a great read for the summer. Maybe not the favorite book that I've read all year, but it was a good read. Some of the best things I like about it is I love the storyline. I love the characters. I love the historical fiction that Sunny put into the book as well, sharing with us information about Oak Bluffs and Martha's Vineyard. And I just found all of that history very interesting. And while it was not a historical fiction book, there was a lot of historical fiction infused into the novel that I think makes it a really good and interesting read. Even though I only rated it 3 stars, it's still a good and interesting read. So I always like to explore the cover. And when I look at this cover, I think that maybe this is the main character in the book, Alma. And this is the beautiful home that she and her husband built in Martha's Vineyard. And so I want to begin by sharing the back of the book and just what the book is about. So hold on. It says, "Welcome to Oak Bluffs, the most exclusive Black beach community in the country. 30 years ago, Amelia Alma Vox Tanner and her husband built a house high on the bluffs, a cottage they named Chateau Lavure. For decades, Alma played host, but her favorite guests have always been her 3 goddaughters, and they were Esperanza Perry Soto, a beautiful, talented Afro-Latino lawyer with Alma's strong yet guarded personality; Olivia Jones, a Wall Street analyst with Alma's brilliant, logical mind; and Billy Hayden, a gifted marine biologist and a rule breaker with Alma's courageous free spirit. This summer on the Bluffs, however, will be different. An era is ending. Alma has invited Perry, Olivia, and Billy to spend one last golden summer together with her, and when fall comes, she is going to give the house to one of them. Each of the women desperately wants the house. Each is grappling with a secret she fears will hurt her and her chances. By the end of the summer, old ties will fray, new bonds will be created, and these 3 fond sisters will discover that they aren't the only ones with something to hide. Alma has a few secrets of her own. She has to give the women what she has to give the women is far more than prosperity. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day, she will tell these surrogate daughters she fiercely loves and protects everything they never knew they needed to know. So this is the book, and like I said, it was a really good summer read for the Elevate Book Club. I think everyone in the club enjoyed reading the book. The book is divided into 2 parts. There's a part 1 and there's a part 2. And the way we did it, we read part 1, then we had a virtual meeting to discuss part 1, and then we read part 2. And I just want to say about that, most of the action happens in part 2 of the book. So part 1 is just a setup for everything, and a lot of the action happens in part 2. So it could be a slow read at the beginning, but hang on because there's a lot of good action, and I'm not going to spoil anything for you. So I do want to talk a little bit about Sunny. You all know that Sunny Hostin is the author. She is on The View. She is a lawyer, and then there's a little section on the back about her, so please check that out. She is a co-host on The View. So, check out that back and check out information about her. Also, at the very back of the book, I enjoyed reading, information about, let me make sure here, reading about the author. So take a minute to also read that, and you can always read that before you read the book. Also, there was a really good interview that she did that I captured on YouTube, and I'll try to link that in the comments, that talked about her inspiration for writing the book and about the house. So I thought that was also very interesting. So remember to check that out. I also noticed that the book says that it was co-written or written with Veronica Chambers. So and you can see that right here, written with Veronica Chambers. So I went and checked out Veronica Chambers as well. So check her out. She's an author as well. And this book is a trilogy. There are actually 3 books in the series. We read this book, and maybe next summer we'll read the other book. The other book is Summer on Sag Harbor, and I'm looking over here at my notes, and Summer on Highland Beach. So so remember that when you get through reading it, maybe check out the other books in the series. But I said earlier, one of my favorite parts is learning about the setting of this book, learning about what happened with Oak Bluffs and how this was an exclusive Black beach community that a lot of your well-to-do Blacks went on vacation. So, and I enjoyed reading just about the history of the beach. So it made me, go and do some research about it, research how that beach was called Inkwell because, people of color went there to the beach, why they went to the beach, and just going and look at that. Also, one of the members of our book club had actually visited Martha's Vineyard. So it was very interesting. She shared pictures. And so that was really cool for our book club members as well. So that was my favorite part, learning about our history, really. Learning about how, what Oak Bluffs is like now, how even though it was an area was a Black beach area, how it's so expensive now that you don't have a lot of Blacks who live there now. So anyway, that was some of my favorite parts about the book, just learning about the setting. I think when I looked at it, up, it said the average home price in the area now is $1 million, and only 3.3% of Blacks live there now as full-time residents. So that was, like I said, very interesting. So let's move on to our main character. The main character in this book is Amelia Vox Tanner. And Amelia is a very light-skinned Black. In my mind, she probably could pass for white, but she's very proud of her heritage. She is smart, and in this book we see that she is very rich and she is powerful. And as I was reading it, I was thinking, okay, is Sunny telling this story about herself? Is she really the main character in the book? So it just tells the story of how she started at the bottom and how she just became a rich and wealthy Black woman. And as a part of her story, she didn't have children of her own. So she adopted, she didn't adopt. She had 3 goddaughters. It didn't say that she adopted them. And every summer, these goddaughters would come and live with her in Martha's Vineyard at this beautiful home that she and her husband had built. And so the book gets into those 3 girls and their story and their lives. And that's what makes it a really good story, is learning about those daughters, how they were chosen, how she selected them and why, and how she spoiled them. She gave them the best that life had to offer, sports lessons, swim lessons, tennis lessons, clothes, the latest and the finest of everything. So it was just very interesting to hear about their stories. So the next character, who was one of my favorite characters in the story, is her husband, Omar. So Omar, he's humble, he's quiet, he's hardworking. He meets Amelia, he sees her, he falls in love with her. And he is just my favorite character in the book. He's just the perfect husband. Even though, there was a secret that was revealed about a mistake that he made, he still was one of my favorite characters in the book. Um, the next thing I want to talk about is how the book describes the house as just this beautiful home with all of this beautiful artwork, and each goddaughter had their own room. There was a pool. So when I just pictured this beautiful home in my head, I was like, and when I heard Sunny's interview, when she talked about the house, she says that when she started writing when she talked about the book, she said when she started writing the book that it was really about the house. And as we know, they built this beautiful home. Omar dies. I forgot to tell you that Omar dies in the story. And so she decides that she wants to give the house to one of her girls. And so the book was about, okay, who she's going to give this house to and why. And again, I'm not going to spoil that. You have to read the book to find out of the three daughters which one inherits the house and why they were selected to inherit the house. So let's talk about the three goddaughters. The first one is Perry. And Perry was adopted by her parents. The book addresses a lot on racism and colorism because Perry is very fair-skinned. She looks more like Amma, and she behaves more like Amma. And it seems like she's searching for a husband like Omar. She's trying to recreate what Omar and the love and the marriage that Omar and Amma have. And that causes some problems as well. So, let's see what else I want to say about Perry. So there was a lot in the book about Perry and her relationship. Perry gets married in the book. Perry has something that she is fixated on in the book as it relates to her marriage. And so that whole love situation between Perry and her husband and another lover that comes in on the scene kind of really makes it a really good love story as well, and a great summer read. So you'll enjoy that part. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to spoil it for you. Of the three girls, Olivia was probably my favorite of the daughters because she was smart and like Amma. And so to address the colorism, Olivia is very dark-skinned in the book. They refer to her as looking like Lupita, the actress. So, and her having some problems with, how she feels that light-skinned women are treated as opposed to dark-skinned women. But there's also a great story of a love relationship that she gets into, more than one in the book, that again is just a great for summer read, and you'll enjoy that as well. So that was really good, and she was one of my favorite characters because she was just smart, and she behaved more like Amma, waking up early, reading the news, making this special coffee, and she's just, I enjoy her character as well. The third goddaughter is Billy, and Billy is the rule breaker. She's the spicy one. She is the different one. She's the one who's playing by her own rules and doing things her way. So she lived with her dad. Her mother was deceased. She was a marine biologist, and in this book she is a lesbian, so that makes it a very interesting as well. So just want to encourage you to read the book, learn about the three daughters, learn about their characters. The summer of reckoning is what I think the book referred to it as. Their last summer, when Amma invites them all to back to the house that they would spend every summer at, where she would spoil them and give them the finest of life. things in life. She has to decide who's going to get the house and kind of just help these girls as they are now adults to maneuver and handle their adult lives. So again, I give the book a 3-star, mostly because towards the end in part 2, it was just a lot of going back and forward and just a lot of, kind of not cohesive storytelling. And then finding out who got the house was like one sentence, but there was a lot about the girls desperately wanting it in the back of the book that I just didn't see the whole cohesiveness of that storyline. And just a lot of the secrets the book says that are revealed, they were all revealed in, just a few chapters. So I just didn't feel like that whole part was built well enough. And the ending wasn't just cohesive enough for me. So this is Sunny's first novel, though, if I'm not mistaken. So just a great book. If you haven't read it, I encourage you to take a summer and read it. It's a great read. If you have read it, how did you rate it? Did you think it was a great read? How would you rate it? I said that I only would give it 3 stars. So what about you? Would love for you to share with me how you felt about it, the book, in the comments below. So again, great book. I may read the other 2 books in the trilogy maybe next summer, like I said. So thank you for joining me for another Royal Book Review. Until next time, thank you.